Welcome back to the channel and thank you for watching. I felt I ought to do another video about this energy crisis and the can't pay, won't pay movement, because understandably there's been lots of comments left in relation to that video. Lots of them understandably negative, and some of them understandably negative towards me, but as the saying goes, don't shoot the messenger. This affects me just as much as it affects everybody else. In fact, I've been speaking to some business owners just recently that said they used to spend about £1,500 to fill up their oil tanks to fuel their business and energy supplies, and they've just been quoted at £9,000. And quite frankly, they can't afford to lose £7,000 or £8,000 off the bottom line, so they don't know where that's going to come from. And as I said, this affects me just as well. My energy bills are going up as well. And I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's sickening, quite frankly. But my video wasn't really to defend the energy companies. It's certainly not to defend the rise in energy prices. I absolutely think something should be done about that. And it needs to be done at government level, and government needs to take action to curb this rise, because it is going to see people unable to pay for gas and electricity, and come winter, that's a very grim situation. However, my point of the video was this: the movement to cancel direct debits is not just, as some people have suggested, in my view and my reading of the news, is not just to cause a disruption to the cash flow to these energy businesses. It is literally to not pay the energy bills, because as I read some of these headlines, it says, you know, what are the risks of not paying? And it's literally called Don't Pay UK. And these headlines say thousands in Britain are vowing to ignore their energy bills and not pay the energy bills. So my point of the video was that if you are in that position where you're thinking of not paying for this energy and just continue to use it and not pay for it, then it's only going to end one way. And as I said, don't shoot the messenger, but I am telling you this is what's going to happen unless there is a severe interruption on this whole process by government to prevent action against you, which is within the government's power to put in measures to prevent energy companies from switching you off, to prevent energy companies from bankrupting you or taking you to court over not paying the energy bills and all that kind of thing. This is something that can only really be done at government level. If it is just left to even thousands of people cancelling their direct debits and refusing to pay, ultimately they are going to end up in court. And I'm going to flash up on screen now an example of what we call a third-party debt order, which is where if they take you to court and get a judgment against you and you refuse to pay that judgment, then they can apply to the court to get an order to order your bank to pay over the money to them. It's known as a third-party debt order. It's one of many forms of enforcement, and they can be used simultaneously. They can convert a judgment into a writ or a warrant of control to come and seize your goods, which they will sell and try to recoup 10 pence in the pound typically, or that's at least what it used to be. Bearing in mind there's lots of costs and fees and everything else added into the mix as well. So also for those that have said that I'm part of the system, I work for the system, and etc., that's obviously, with respect, nonsense. I am independent as a barrister. In fact, every barrister is independent, and the rules require that we are independent. Our rules literally say one of our core duties is to maintain our independence, meaning we cannot be swayed, we cannot be bought, we cannot be bribed, we cannot just sway with one party or another just because they offer us something of intrinsic value. We can, this is where most people get confused, we can argue what the legal situation is and what's likely to happen. So in these situations, I am telling you what's likely to happen unless there is a severe intervention. What is likely to happen is that these energy companies are going to have enough clout to take virtually all of you to court to get the money that they say you owe. And the most likely result of all of that is, paradoxically, the energy companies saying, well, because of all the costs of dealing with you lot that have refused to pay, we're going to put up the prices yet further. And because the energy cap is now reviewed more often, this means that the energy prices are more likely to go up more often, at least in my view and the view of lots of experts online that I've read about. So for those that are arguing that it's about disrupting the cash flow, with respect, don't kid yourselves that that's going to have a massive effect on these energy companies. They will continue, and they are just likely to put prices up to maintain the cash flow whilst they chase everybody that refused to pay. So as I said, don't shoot the messenger. I'm telling you what's likely to happen unless there is a serious intervention by government to prevent this from happening and to prevent it from playing out. So in fact, the word from people like me and Martin Lewis is that this is going to get very grim and something needs to be done about it. But it isn't really going to work by lots of people just cancelling their payments. It needs to come from government, and something needs to be done to curb this rise in prices so that lots of people are not left without power this winter. As Martin Lewis said, we are getting close to a poll tax type movement, and the government needs to get a handle on it. His words. Some practical things you might be able to do in the meantime are to regularly check your meter readings and only pay for what you actually use. But I do still stick by my stark warning about not paying your energy bills, because as the lawyer, I'm telling you, this is going to have a detrimental effect on you unless there is a step in by government to prevent them taking such actions against you. Because without that, they will, and it will have a detrimental effect upon you. If you get a CCJ, it's going to be on your record for 6 years. Some comments say that they don't care about the CCJs. Well, I can tell you that will have a detrimental effect on you for a number of years, and it's only going to make matters worse, particularly if you need to borrow to make ends meet, which is a very difficult situation, I do understand, but having a CCJ on your record is not going to make that situation any easier. So I hope that helps to clarify some of the comments and some of the views. As I said, don't shoot the messenger. This affects me and every business that I know just as much as it affects you. But this is one of the reasons for me to continue this channel, to keep giving you as much help, guidance as I possibly can, so that you don't have to pay for it. So please do like the video, subscribe. I will be here for you. In the meantime, my pledge to you is that if you have legal difficulties and you have cases that you need to try to resolve, I'm going to try to help you, and I'm going to try to rally other lawyers to help me to help you through this channel. So if you know someone that's got a legal problem and they can't afford to pay for it, please do send them to my channel, like this video, subscribe, get them to subscribe, and I'll talk about these problems and these issues on this channel so that at least I can do my bit to help everybody en masse for these legal problems so that you don't have to pay for it. So in the meantime, I do thank you for watching. I understand your comments, and please do come back and watch some more. Thank you very much for watching.